Hello, everyone. This is Henry Schneider with the Business Performance Podcast, and today it's my distinct pleasure to be speaking with JP Ostiguy, who's the founder of How to Engage. So, welcome, JP.
Thank you so much for having me on, Henry. It's a pleasure.
Okay, so to put things into context, would you briefly describe how to engage your customers and the types of services you provide?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you how the name became. It's HAO, the number 2, Engage. My daughters share the same initials, Harmony Autumn Ostiguy and Halo Aspen Ostiguy. So my wife made it a mandate that we had to do it. But the whole premise of starting this, I was already helping a lot of young entrepreneurs with businesses, with branding, with social media, and really getting their passion out there. And my wife told me I should be getting paid for it. So we just turned it into a business where we started helping and showing people how to network and connect offline. Because a lot of people still get stuck up with, Henry, we met on LinkedIn.
Yes.
They stuck up with the social part of the LinkedIn process, but forget to take that experience offline. So we really focus on taking that offline, building relationships, and helping people move forward in their businesses.
Wonderful. So that's interesting about how you came up with the name, because I'm thinking, how HAO, that's like Chinese. So I was wondering if there was a Chinese connection.
No, not at all.
Okay, so who are your clients? What's your client base look like?
So my clients are professionals, sales professionals, young entrepreneurs, and people in the automotive business who want to improve their connection rate with customers. So anyone that's customer facing, those are my potential customers. A lot of people come to me who are just starting a business, who are trying to make things work, and they don't understand how to build a client base. Prospecting is really hard, and networking is one of the easiest ways to do that. Okay. So we teach that.
Great. So given that, what's the importance of quality or performance to your clients?
Well, without quality, you're dealing with the bottom of your funnel, the bottom of your customer base. It just doesn't work. Quality is so important. Otherwise, you're tripling your work effort to get one person on 1,000 potential leads. You've got to really focus in on what's important to your client, the customer's client, and then work on that and how to enhance that. Without quality, it's just volunteer work.
Okay, right. Okay, so when you talk to your clients or you're looking for potential people, what are the one or two biggest myths or misconceptions out there when it comes to what your quality and business performance that your customer base faces?
That everything can be done online without social interaction. I think that's the biggest thing to take away. Forbes recently released a study that 85% of millennials will not sign a large transaction until they physically meet the person and decided that on their character. And long-term relationships are built by that. You would have to take that conversation offline, where most people think that it has to happen online. A lot of it can, and Henry, we met online, like some weird dating site. We met online, but you really have to focus in on that offline meeting.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you need to, this is the next best thing to being in person, but
absolutely.
But it's not quite the same as being physically in the same room and having eye contact. And
well, no, and a lot can be going on in the background behind us, right? We could be in a busy setting, can be distracting, and having that one-to-one is really important.
Yeah. All right. So So when people come to you, what is the biggest challenge that they have that they look to you to help them with?
I think the biggest challenge that I see, because I'm a lot of service-based versus product-based customers, is how do I find clients? And they're stuck with the evolution of their product or their service more than they are with actually finding where their ideal customer would come from. So a lot of people get lost. They may have the best idea in the world, the most amazing, revolutionary product, but it will obviously just be a thought and an idea unless you have customers who will pay for it. So that's the biggest thing. And Henry, you see it a lot with your business. people fail, even though they have the most groundbreaking ideas, because they haven't thought of how to give that or make that available to customers.
Yeah, I totally agree. You can have a great technical idea, but if you don't know how to manage the work and how to get it out there, it's just going to die on the vine. And if you don't pay attention to what your customers are saying, then you're going to go off a different road and build something that's great, technically perfect, but nobody wants.
Exactly.
Yeah. How do you get your clients past those challenges and fears?
Well, we do a social experiment. A lot of people have maybe very outgoing, but they're kind of outgoing introverts. They're outgoing on kind of a made up personality to make the things work, but they're very focused on their product, and we have to switch that around. I hold networking events, and I also go to a lot of networking events, and I bring these people out to the event so they can meet one or two people outside of their network. You have to be able to grow and have real communication versus being the business card Santa that swoops in and just hands everybody business cards and flies away. So taking these people and having them re-socialize in a business setting, in networking events that actually are for business and not just social out gatherings. That's the big first stage.
So is it like a speed dating type of? No.
Not at all. Actually, the engagement, I have ones called Engage Networking. They're all focused on, I bring in speakers that are either going through the experience themselves or have mastered it and are super successful. And then we have focus tables. So there's about 6 or 7 tables in the room of 8 people, and every table has 3 or 4 questions based on one topic. One would be about prospecting. How do you find clients? What are your biggest challenges? One's about networking. One's about media and advertising. And everyone has a minute to talk. Mm-hmm. You cannot pitch. You cannot sell your business. The whole idea is to build relationships at the table. After that, everyone has a chance to speak. Everyone stands up, and then they literally just go to different tables with different people. You can't sit with the same people. So then you have this, it goes over and over again about 8 or 10 times. And people get a real idea of what other people's challenges are, and they're able to share what their challenges are and get other people's ideas. So right away, you're able to put yourself in a client mode where you're talking to people who have the same issues.
Cool. So do they do any type of role playing too, or trying to experience this or practice these techniques?
We have done it in the past. It depends on the event and what the deal is. If it's like I do a lot with video, I know that's kind of how you found me. Yeah. If we're doing video, then yes, we do role playing. If we're not doing video, then it's more about sharing and really getting that deep conversation that has a relationship behind it. So sometimes role playing is a hindrance, sometimes it's a benefit. Anything to do with sales is definitely role playing mode. If anyone's to do with building relationships, obviously the networking side.
So after the event, what do you do to keep people practicing and moving on with the gains they've got out of that event?
Well, the biggest thing is I send a personal video to everybody at the end of the event to thank them for coming in, and I stay in touch with them. I challenge them to engage more. If they're not on LinkedIn, then I challenge them to build a profile. We help them with that. If they are go right back. A lot of people are creatures of habit, and they'll go the easy way a lot of times. So if they start falling back, a lot of times we see it because a lot of the stuff is suddenly they disappear from putting content online and everything else. We reach out and make sure we keep them up. And I have a CRM I use, and it reminds me when I talk to people. A lot of times I just do it to reach out. And I have the events once or twice a month, so those same people are invited back a second time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because if this is one of these things where you can get really pumped and you leave on a high and then you get back into the real world and it goes, you're back to where you were before.
We've all been to conferences where it's like, wow, that's amazing. Oh my God. And you leave and you forget exactly what you said. So they say that within 30 minutes, you forgot 50% what was said. So you have to, through repetition, do it, and you have to show the support. I personally am committed to the support of people, even if they're not my clients. A lot of people just need a little bump sometimes. Sometimes it's not about motivating. It's more about informing and letting them know that it is a possibility.
So can you share a story specifically how you helped like one of your clients who was having a tough time overcome these obstacles and succeed?
Well, I have someone who's become a close friend. They were really good at their technical job, which was media and helping people market. But they had no idea how to interact with customers. They were very number oriented and not necessarily people oriented. And the media, the message, they could think in 3D and everything else, but they couldn't find a client. So after 2 events, they still weren't evolving. They had a real trouble kind of breaking out. So I invited them to be a speaker because they're really passionate about what they do. Passion is purpose. And the third one, when the person came up and they started speaking about their product and brand, you could feel the energy, the love of what they do. And it just, the person's almost blacked out and just went into their full passion of the experience, and they left with 2 clients.
Yeah.
People saw that and wanted that energy to be, they wanted that brand to be branding for them.
Okay. So if you could distill that, what's the moral of your story?
Is passion is purpose.
Okay.
You've got to have, we can all do day jobs, we can all get paid, but unless you're really committed to what you want to do, you'll never fully reach the top of what your goal is or what you're capable of. You have to be able to grow. And why would I want to grow if I'm doing something I hate?
Yeah. So we were chatting before we began, and I was asking you about defining moments. So could you share what helped you redirect your focus to become more of a facilitator and a coach to improve people's capabilities?
Well, I've always kind of gone to the leadership role side of it in automotive and everything I've ever done. In 2011, in 2010, I sold my now wife a car, and that's how we met. And we were married in 2011. And the end of 2011, I had a lump on my neck, and I went in to get a check. My firstborn was coming, and I found out in early 2012 that I had very advanced cancer, throat, tongue, esophagus, and lymph node. And I got through it. Thank God I'm a survivor. I've got a badge of honor right there. But, things came into perspective at that point. It was really easy to let go of what wasn't important. I calmed down a lot, matured a lot. Now I'm a dad and a husband, and I really wanting to help people grow really kind of came out of that. I got through it, so why can't I help someone else? And that's where the whole thing started. That's where the focus kind of went from this big to laser focus.
Yeah, that's a very inspiring story. I mean, experiences like that really tend to focus people, and you're very blessed and fortunate to come through this and survive and be able to then take that experience and help other people.
I've got an amazing wife and family to support, so the support system was there and it made it easy.
Okay. So can you also share an experience that you had early on, other than that maybe, go back to your youth that influences how you approach business?
Well, I was always into sports. I played rugby at a very high level, and the drive to lead was always there. I was never a follower. I never liked. I was always a team player, but I never liked just sitting back and listening when I thought I could do it better. So the drive was always there to push forward. I was a stand-up comedian for 2 years professionally because I fell into it. I fell into the car sales. I was actually a professional bass fisherman. Fell into that, and just because I needed to do it. And once it was completed, I walked away. The drive to succeed and move forward in my career and learn has always been there. It's just about finding the niche that actually kept my attention longer than the time I did it. So yeah.
So just interesting to touch on the bass fishing. So were you a guide that you went out and took?
I did guiding, but I was actually a tournament pro for a little while.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
impressive.
I wasn't very good at it, but I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you learn from being a pro bass fisherman?
It sucks living in your truck. I learned that the dedication to your craft is unbelievable. You have to learn your quarry, which is the fish. You have to learn their habits, the waters, everything. You have to research. You can't just go out and fish.
Yeah.
You have to really put that time, effort, money, and investment in yourself to grow. That was the biggest thing, and time management. Because when you're in Toronto and you have to be in Montreal the next morning on the water, you've got to really plan ahead.
Yeah.
And you're there, and how to sell was a big thing, because sponsors love me because I could sell their product. Even though I couldn't win, they love me. So I had to survive by selling. So that was a big thing. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because I just went trout fishing or fly fishing for the first time here at the beginning of July, and working with guides, and they're just some of the greatest people on earth. They know they're extremely patient, especially when everybody's just screwing up and getting tangled, and they're just untying it all. You know, the nicest, calmest people you can meet.
Well, they're like the Matrix moves, because they have to dodge those lines and the flies coming at you at 100 miles an hour. Absolutely. You know what? They're in a customer experience business. Yeah. They have to produce an experience. Otherwise, they will never get repeat clients.
That's right. Yeah. So, okay. So let me ask you now, what does success look like for JP Ostiguy, and how to engage?
I think success works. I don't look at the money. I've never been a money-focused person. Money comes with success. If you're just successful and focus on that, it will work itself out. Success for me looks like helping people get to what they want. I want someone to pay off their mortgage. I want someone to put a toy in their driveway. I want them to send their kids to college without debt. That's what success looks for me. So if I can help a client achieve that, that makes it a heck of a lot easier for me. And seeing that smile on their face and having that because of you I didn't give up, phrase really makes a big difference for me. So that's what success looks for me. Money will take care of itself. If I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, it's fine.
Okay, great. Now, we talked again a little bit earlier before we started about some recent successes. So you are launching some networking events. So
yes.
What have you seen recently that's really showing things are really happening well for you?
Well, I think there's like, I use meetup.com. That's a great place. LinkedIn locals are there. I think the biggest need is that there's a lot of really good meetups, but that are social with business. They're social first, and then there's business, and or it's just selling a business. They're trying to sell a product, service, and kind of jam it down your throat. Mm-hmm. It's not a Tupperware party. You've got to make sure that you really open it up, that people can learn, grow, and respond, and then they'll come back. Mm-hmm. It has to be a business with social, not social with business. That's what the biggest need for in the networking phase is. And we're seeing a lot more with, like LinkedIn locals do a lot with panels that talk about their experiences, not about their business. The networking event that stops selling, even though the end goal is to get clients, you can get clients without selling. Mm-hmm. You get to a point where, how do I do that? Can you do it for me is more important than jamming it down your throat. You make more money anyway doing it that way too. And people are happy to transfer money to you when they know they're getting value back. Right.
And the thing is, what's happening here recently or the past several months with LinkedIn, as soon as you connect with somebody, bam, you get a sales message.
I love those. I love those. And, I always, I do a lot of kind of pro bono work. I help people look at the resume. So in Africa, in India, I know when the countries wake up, because I get about 400 messages going, hey, can you look at my resume? Is there anyone hiring? And that's cool. And to your point, Henry, I love when I get those messages because I love spam. I just love it. And I stop and say, okay, so you just connect with me. You don't know who I am or what my needs are. What kind of business do I own? and then they never respond. So how can I, well, can you tell me a little bit more about it? So why don't you look at my profile? You see if we can connect, and then you let me know. If you're in the Toronto area, why don't you come to one of my networking events? And I honest to God, I got this back. Well, that's a waste of my time. I need to connect with paying customers. So how do you know if you're connecting with me, if you're just going to spam me?
Yeah.
So spam, like I always say, people will love you, people will hate you, and a lot of times it has nothing to do with you. So, let them enjoy that experience, and eventually they'll figure it out.
Yeah, and that's the problem again. With just connecting on LinkedIn and email back and forth, you've removed the personal interaction. It's just you're reading words, and you don't know what the mood is of the person who's reading it or the mood of the person who wrote it, and then things can be taken wrong, and it's a mess.
I use a lot of voice text now on LinkedIn. If I'm responding to somebody, you can record your voice up to, I think, 30 seconds, and you can at least get inflection. I've got that strip club announcer voice anyway. You might as well use it. Yeah. So versus typing a message, I'm dyslexic. My typing skills are pretty bad. Thank God for spell check, but I can talk. So why don't I use and make it more personal, make it different.
Yeah. No, you did that with me, and that was pretty cool. I had never seen anybody do that before. LinkedIn keeps changing their features and functionalities. So that does give you a little bit more of a personal interaction there.
Well, and it takes less time.
Well, yeah, you can just talk and not try to type and correct.
Yeah, they say that 1 minute of video and audio would be very similar. 1 minute of video equals 1.2 million words. So 1 minute of audio.
Yeah. Like you say, actions speak louder than words too. So if you can see somebody. So that's great. Now, what's the most important question people should be asking themselves when they consider going to somebody to provide coaching and mentoring on how to do sales?
I think the biggest thing they should be asking is why are they doing what they're doing in the first place? Is it just to provide an income? Because you can get a job at a greeter at Walmart. You can be a manager at a store. You can get a corporate level. So why do you want to do what you want to do? Mm-hmm. It's just to make money. Great. Is that your passion? If it's not your passion, it'll be more difficult to succeed. Mm-hmm. If the questions they should be asking someone they're looking to hire is, have you done it before? And I get this all along. So what have you done in your life? Have you done it before? What should I expect? And use your gut instinct. If someone starts selling you the world, it's probably wrong. So there's no magic bean to fix these things. What do I want to get out of it? Am I compatible personality-wise? Am I open to listening? Are you, as a coach, I have to be open to learning from the client. Mm-hmm. So when you interview your coach I wouldn't consider myself a coach or a mentor. I just consider myself kind of a networker that teaches people what I do. The biggest thing is just ask questions and find out if there's any holes in the stories, if there's anything that doesn't make sense, and go back through it and ask those again. You've got to feel comfortable with someone. And if your gut tells you something's wrong, maybe it's not compatibility.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more again about passion is purpose. So you talked about the one client that actually got up there being passionate, and that kind of just it was his inflection point. Can you expand on a little bit more about what you mean by passion is purpose?
Well, I think when you're really like someone who owns a small restaurant, a family-owned and operated, this is what they're a foodie. They love sharing their passion, which is food and designer or artisan foods with someone. They want someone to enjoy what they enjoy. Mm-hmm. They go to work every day happy. They're excited about trying something new, trying a new dish or something else, and nothing will stop them from doing it. That's passion. Mm-hmm. Having someone, when you go to work and you're hating your job, are you passionate about what you're doing, or are you just hating who you're doing it for? Mm-hmm. There's a big difference between the two. Sometimes it's both, but you have to look at what you want to accomplish, and is your passion part of the end product or the goal? Can you share that? If you're passionate about speaking, you've got to find a place to have that outlet. Without the outlet, you tend to bottle up inside, and it's not good for us health-wise, and you die a little bit. You got to share. If it's sports and your weekend is you're a hockey player and you want to go play hockey, and doesn't matter what's on that day, you're going to go play hockey. That's passion. When you lose that passion, it's tragic.
Yeah.
I have passion for rugby. My body says no. So, I love watching it. I love being around it. I love fishing. I love being around it. I love watching it. I love hearing about it. But that stage of my life has moved on.
Yeah.
Passion more about seeing people successful now. So.
Yeah, and you raise a good, interesting point. I mean, you're going to have ups and downs. Some days will be bad, some days will be great. It's a matter, and good clients, bad clients, but if you maintain that passion through that, it's
a lot easier to wake up every day to go to work and to help people when you know in your heart of hearts that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I guess you end up, everything's more like a challenge or a purpose to go through as opposed to giving up and walking away.
Well, if you're giving up, that wasn't really your passion.
Yeah.
You're still going to, if you failed on your own time, you're still going to do what you love. It just you may not, you just have to tool that into some energy that you can use to build your business.
Okay. So now, how long has How to Engage been functioning now? How many years?
My wife and I launched it last summer.
Okay.
But we've been doing it for a while now.
Okay. All right. So it's pretty young. Okay.
It's pretty young.
So, but you've probably learned a lot over the last 12 months.
Oh, yeah, trial and error is a wonderful thing. But I've been a professional coach in the automotive world for the better part of a decade. So I was already doing it, just in a different business.
Yeah. So if you were to start over, just kind of reset today from what you learned over the last 12 months, what would you do differently and what would you keep doing?
Well, I think there's a learning curve with any business. We came with an idea how to do this, and it's morphed 5 or 6 times from then. Originally, it was going to be an online school type thing. Then it was going to be just the sales training, and then it was going to be only networking events. And I kind of combined it all now. So it's a lot easier to understand. You've got to go through a growing phase. Very few people start and say, this is exactly what I want to do. You tend to morph as you find your passion, as you really sink in on things. If I had to do it all over again, I would have gotten into networking a lot earlier in my life. Because again, I was a younger, cocky guy, and I didn't think I needed anyone's help. And then through illness and through work, I learned that you've got to be able to be open to other people's opinions. Yeah. So we're still on course to do exactly what we wanted to do. We're just doing it slightly differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of the story of startup entrepreneurs. You got to, if the ones that are successful have an initial idea and they start working it and realize that's not quite right, and so you pivot and you try something. You still keep the same focus, but where you end up is not where you thought you'd be when you first started.
Exactly. And for anyone that's starting out, there's some amazing coaches out there. Henry, you're doing really well with your clients. Find someone that understands you and can help you grow, because I have a business coach. His name is John Verway, and he's been really huge in my success. Just giving me, he doesn't see, the worst part is he doesn't tell me anything. He just kind of lets me figure it out, but he kind of puts me in the right direction to have that, oh yeah moment. Yeah.
Yeah, the aha, no, the epiphany.
Yeah. You never want someone directing you, because then you're a consultant. They're a consultant, but if you can get someone that inspires you more than you've already been inspired, it just points in a direction without actually giving you direction. That's amazing thing to go through.
So are you focused now primarily in Toronto? I mean, you got to make your meetups and all, but are you looking beyond that into a large?
Yeah, basically, I'm looking for anyone who wants to grow. I have talked to people in Ottawa. I've talked to people in New York. I have friends in Wisconsin that I'm working with. Realistically, a lot of stuff like web meetings, we can do a lot face-to-face, makes versus face-to-screen makes it a little easier. And then I'm planning to do more speaking in the next 12 months outside of Canada.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so then you can go around and meet more people.
Exactly. That's the fun part.
Yeah. Okay, so we could keep talking. This is very fascinating. But we're running out of time, and I don't want it to occupy too much of your time today. So, how can
Henry, I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So, how can somebody get in touch with you to learn more about your services and how to engage?
So my direct line is 647-888-7300, or it's JP, like Jean Paul, JP at HAO, the number 2, engage.ca, or you can go to howtoengage.ca, the website.
Very good. So you're a great storyteller. I just really enjoy listening to you. And I really like your advice about passion as purpose. I mean, that just really resonates. And I know that our viewers will find this just as fascinating as I have. So thank you so much for your time today, JP.
Henry, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm honored to have you reach out and have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. It's been my pleasure.